Good evening. This is Mr. Patrick at Jasper County High School, and I'm making this video for teachers, particularly teachers of ninth graders, who are going to have students with laptops and will more than likely complete most of their assignments using Word documents or some sort of digital-based word processor for things like essays and writing assignments. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to show you how to make macros to quickly grade these documents. And what a macro is basically like a button, and you could set the button to do different functions. So for instance, if you are, when you're grading papers by hand and you're noticing that you're making the same comments over and over and over and over again, rather than writing those comments, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, on a Word document you can create a macro so that every time you see that error or that mistake, you can just push your macro and it'll spit out that comment that you would have written 6, 7 times. So now that so instead of taking 10, 15 minutes to write up this comment, it takes little 15, 20 seconds. So it really cuts down on your grading time. And you can create all sorts of macros for any number of things and any number of comments. You can use it for grammar mistakes. You can use it for content related mistakes. You can use it for organizational mistakes, whatever. You can use it for praises. If a student did something well or did something good, you can use it for that. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and like I said, it's meant to really cut down on your grading time. So what you're going to do before we get started actually making the macro, what you want to do is you want to add an additional tab called the Developer tab up here in the ribbon. So if you don't know, this up here, if you follow my mouse, is the ribbon. And if you look up here, you have several different tabs. You have your Home tab, you have your Insert, Page Layout, etc., 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 all the way to the end. What we don't have by default is the Developer tab, and that's where you're going to create macros. So since we don't have the Developer tab, we need to add it. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to the upper left-hand corner, and this is Word 2007. With Word 2010, it's slightly different because I don't think there is an Office button. Instead, it's just a Home tab. So I'm going to insert some text directions on how to do this for a Word 2010 document, but the video is actually going to be 2007. So what you do is you come over here and you click the Office button. You click it, and then you're going to come all the way down, if you follow my mouse, to Word Options, and you want to click that. And then the Options box will come up, and for me, what we wanted to pick is right here in the Popular tab. If you come down here and you see that this box is not checked, and this is Show Developer tab in the ribbon, and that's what we want. So what we do is we come over here and we check that box because we want to add it. And it's simply come down here to OK. Click it. And now if you look up here in the ribbon, we now have the Developer tab, and that's what we want. So click it. And if you come over here to the left, here is your macros. Now, what you do not want to push is your macros button, because if you push this, you'll have this, and it seems like you're doing well. So if you hit create, so let's, hold on, before we do that, let's give it a name. Let's say sentence fragment. And then we hit create. Oh, mistake. The reason you don't want to push this is because if you use this, it'll take you to the developer screen for Word. And unless you know the correct script language and you're familiar with using scripts, and a script is a command using language, letters, numbers, and backslashes and all that. So if you have no idea what you're doing in terms of script commands, do not click this button and do not create a macro through that. It's the hard way, it's the professional way, and we don't want that. What we want to do is you want to simply click record macro. So we click it, and this screen will come up. And so macro name, we want to give it a name. So I'm going to give it, I'm going to do one that I commonly use, sentence fragment. I don't know if it'll let me do 2-word names or not, but we'll try it. And we want a button. We want it to be a button that we can push on our Word document. So we're going to hit button. Nope, it won't let me. So it has to be a one-word thing. So let's do I'll use a capital sentence fragment. I will click button. All right, we'll come to here. Now, so this is our macro right here. And this is the icon. This is the button icon that will be, I'm going to click it and I'm going to add it over here. So already, these are some macros that are already done, and these are up here in this corner right here. So we have the save macro, we have the undo macro, and then we have the redo macro. Those are by default where Microsoft has already created those for us. And what we want to do, we want to add ones for teaching and grading. So we click the one, then the one we created, one we named, we haven't created it yet, sentence fragment, and we want to add it. And then once it's added, click it, and I do not like this icon. For me, that doesn't say sentence fragment error. You know, these, if you look at them, you know that that usually means save. You know that that would probably mean to go back or to undo, etc. But that does not say sentence fragment to me. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to hit modify, and I'm going to change the symbol. So what says sentence fragment to me is the big O red X that says wait, because we do not want sentence fragments. It is a major error. Students in high school should never ever be writing in sentence fragments. They are too old for that, and if they are, they need some either serious help or they're just being excessively lazy. So that's the icon I want. So I'm going to hit OK. So now we're done now. So we've added it over here, and we've changed the icon. Now we can hit OK. And now we are recording. We are recording now. So that, see right here on my cursor, you see the little cassette? That means it's recording. So anything we do in Word is going to be recorded to that macro. So make sure you don't type anything yet, or make sure you don't really do anything in the Word document, because you are recording right now. So what we do, when I grade, is I use the review tab. So we were in developer tab. I come over here to review, and when I grade, I use comments. So when I see something, I just simply hit add new comment, and it highlights the mistake, and then it shoots a red line over here with a comment that I can talk about it or give corrections or give suggestions or whatever. So since this is a sentence fragment macro, my comment obviously is going to be related towards sentence fragments. And I'm going to put something like, I'm going to type now, and remember it is recording. So Word has recorded me adding a comment, and it's about to record what I'm going to type. So you have a sentence fragment. I'm going to put an exclamation point, so I mean serious business. You must correct this error. And that's all I'm going to put. Now, I could be more fancy. I could be more suggestive. I could break down, if I really wanted to, I could break down what a sentence fragment is. You know, it's a sentence that either doesn't have a subject or a main verb, or is an incomplete thought, whatever. You could give an example of a sentence fragment. You give an example of a complete sentence, whatever you want to do. But since this is just an example, I'm just typing this. And I'm done. So since I'm done with what I want to record, I come over here and I simply push stop recording. And we're done. So now I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to show you how this works actually when you're grading. So I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to come over here to review. I'm going to delete the comment. And I'm going to type a fragment. Alright, that's not a very creative sentence fragment, but it is a fragment. Because if you hit spacebar and start typing again, well, it should be, you should see a green squiggly line, but it's not. But that is, trust me, that is a sentence fragment because there is no verb. You should have the verb is to make that a complete sentence. But anyways, so here we have a sentence fragment. And if I were grading this, I would say, oh, Bobby has a sentence fragment. This is not a complete sentence, and I would highlight it. And now I would come up here to my macros, and I would simply, all I'd have to do, instead of write out, draw a line or write out what I would normally write on if I were doing this by hand, now all I have to do is highlight this and simply push my new macro. Bing! And you can do this for whatever comments you want to do. If you want to add praises, a good job here, you can make a macro for that. If you want to, if you are constantly finding yourself commenting on improper MOA format, you can make a macro for that. If you're, anything, no introduction, you can make a macro for that. No thesis statement, you can make a macro for that. Whatever you want to whatever you would have written on a sheet of paper, on a student's paper, you can create macros for that, so you no longer have to sit and write out those comments anymore. So instead of taking 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes per essay, per student essay, now you can cut that down to about 5-10 minutes, easy and consistently with macros. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope that you can use this. And once again, this is for 2007. With Word 2010, it's basically the same. The only thing that's different is setting up this developer tab. That's the only difference. Everything else, creating the macro, recording the macro, naming it, choosing a new icon, everything else is the same. So I hope this has been helpful again, and let me know what you think. Signing out.